Welcome once again to Octane Mobile Gaming with yours truly, Octane. So today the deck is out for the next event, which starts tonight, and it goes over the weekend straight into Easter Monday. So this is the Easter deck. It's a dark arcane killer deck, and the event is a commander event. So this is Heres Extraordinaire, and this card is your ultimate form, and it's got extra skill on it, which increases your chance of finding eggs from crusade mission during rabbit renegades. I'm not sure what eggs does. I got one in my inbox. I think it was yesterday morning. I got one in my inbox. Not sure what they do, not sure what you'll get, but I think you have to collect several of these to craft particular item. Not sure what items are gonna be, but it's always good to receive stuff for free. So this week we've got a half price vault as well, and hoping that it would be quite good. Anyway, it is what it is. We'll see what we get. We'll see what happens during the event. Hopefully it's a good event, a bit better than the one that just finished day before yesterday. Anyway, this ultimate form will create up to 18 dark power gem 4s. So it's nice, you get dark power gem 4s rather than power gem 1, 2s or 3s. But it does it over 3 turns. It will create 6 immediately. That's when you activate the battle skills. And then 6 on turn 2. But this is if you've got 200 arcane killer intensity. And it will create an additional 6 on the 3rd turn if you've got 400 intensity. Now, I always have a problem with intensity nowadays, because I think the intensity requirement on a lot of the decks are a bit too high, and it puts you underneath pressure to create a lot of intensity over 20 seconds. So for me it's a bit stressful. Don't know about you guys, but there are, I think if it was like you'll get 6 on turn 2 if you've got 150 intensity, and an additional 6 if you've got like 200 intensity, would have been a bit better, primarily because when you create your first 6 power gems, you'll have to save those power gems for your second 6, and by the 3rd turn you'll probably have destroyed half of those power gems already. But combining these 6 dark power gems with other cards that are able to create power gems as well, you should be all right. It's got a 9 gem charge rate and a 3 gem cooldown. It's got a passive which is called Clockwork Upgrade, and when a dark commander gem, when dark commander gems are matched, it increases the total damage dealt by arcane killer by 60% for 1 turn. Now that seems a bit small, but the reason why it seems a bit small, it's because this boost is totally different from attack boost. So attack boost has to do with the attack output of each card on your deck. So when you have got an attack boost, it deals specifically with the attack on each one of your cards that's on the deck. But when you've got a damage boost, the damage boost is calculated a bit different. It's the total damage that can be dealt by your deck after you've had all the whistles and bells. So you've got loads of additional stuff that goes on when you activate your battle skills and match your gems. So you got bonus coming from your gems. You've got like your affinity bonus, all of those things that goes on. Those are considered damage. So that's the overall damage. What it reminds me of, it's like your Blitz mechanic or your Ard 1 Gorilla mechanic that takes the total damage. That means everything that's dealt by your deck, and it deals it back in the form of a nuke damage. This is like that. So it's the total damage of your deck with all the additional stuff, and then you get a 60 time increase. So it should be a bit more significant than an attack boost. And what I'm thinking is, if you can throw in cards from an arcane killer deck that actually boosts arcane killer cards attack. So if you can boost the attack, then you will get even a far more significant damage. However, when it comes to Dark Commander gems, you can only produce Dark Commander gems in Dark Commander event. So if you've got, say, this card with a Fire Commander card that's Arcane Killer, you're not gonna boost the you will boost your Arcane. You would boost Arcane Killer damage because you're in a Commander event. So in a Commander event, even if the event is Earth event, Light event, the fact that it's actually a Commander event will actually allow your Dark Commander cards to spawn Dark Commander gems. So this would work okay, I think, in an Commander event. It doesn't matter what affinity it is because you'll spawn Dark Commander gems. But in a Slayer event, you won't be able to generate Dark Commander gems because that particular skill is only active during Commander event. So this would not work in a Slayer event. And I think primarily because in Slayer event, your attack boosts and damage boosts are quite significant. You can see them a bit more rather than in a Commander event. So I think that's a restriction they've placed simply because they don't want us to be able to use these cards in a Slayer format, which I believe is not really good, because the reason why they change the cards slightly at the end of last year was to make deck building a bit more easier. So for the past a few months, we have been mixing Commander cards with Slayer cards, and we've been getting really good results. Especially in the last event, people were mixing a Dark Commander card with a Water Slayer deck, which actually done significant damage, which was really brilliant. So that restriction, I think they shouldn't have put it in there, simply because it defeats the purpose of us being able to mix decks from various affinity and various event types. So this will only work in a Commander setting, not in a Slayer setting, and I think that should have been. I think this should have been a card that, or a deck that should have been able to be mixed with a Slayer deck. Even though it would make the Slayer deck OP, I think they should have allowed it, basically because we haven't got much OP decks around. It would have been nice to have at least one deck that's OP in a Slayer event, even though it's a Commander deck. Anyway, it is what it is. We have to work with it, and we'll just move on. Okay, so we are going to go straight into our Master Collection and Ultra Rare. So this is your Master Collection card, which is Quartermaster Lapin. And this card will also increase your chance of finding eggs from Crusade missions. Its battle skills, which is Aviator Artillery, will create up to 18 Dark Power Gem 4s, really nice. And it will do it over 3 turns again, and it will create 6 immediately and 6 additional on turn 2, 6 additional on turn 3, and you've got your arcane intensity requirement of 200 and 400 again, which it's a Commander event, so depending on how much relics you've got on your deck, you might be able to get up to that amount of intensity. The only thing that I don't really like primarily with the new cards is that on the previous ultimate forms, the ultimate forms usually give you 10 intensity, and then your support cards usually give you like 10. Recently, a lot of the cards don't really give you the amount of intensity, so you don't build your intensity quite as much, and they've changed most of the relics, so before you could mix like any arcane relics in with your deck and it will just generate intensity. Now it has to be Dark Commander, because if you put like Light Commander, it doesn't generate the intensity without adding a Light Commander card onto the deck, which kind of is a bit sad, but it is what it is. So the passive is Daredevil. When an enemy casts Fear, it gains 15% damage resistance for 1 turn. So I'm assuming that you're gonna have cards, the bosses are gonna cast Fear. Fear is not too bad, even though it can mess you up, but once you put something on there that actually dispels fear, you should be all right. So we're gonna look at the ultra rare, which is Mastermind Marvel Maker, and this one gives you the increased chance of finding the eggs. Its battle skill, which is Fatal Invention, will create 4 Dark Power Gem freeze plus 1 additional for every 100 Arcane Killer intensity. I'm not gonna start talking anymore about intensity requirement. They're always 100, and I think we're kind of getting used to them being 100, but I'm still not satisfied with it being 100. I think it should be half of that. 50 is quite fine. So by the time you get up to 100 intensity, you can actually create 2 additional power gem rather than was 1 power gem for getting up to that amount of intensity. The passive, again, Clockwork Upgrade. When Dark Commander gems are matched, it increases the total damage dealt by Arcane Killer by 60%. So if you've got, say, one ultra rare and your ultimate form, this would be a 120%. And if you've got more than one ultra rare, then you can deal far more damage. So personally, for me, from my point of view, I think the ultra rare is actually the MVP for the deck. The more ultra rare you've got, the more damage output you can actually deal. So if you've got 3 ultra rare on your deck, your damage will go quite significant. Plus, the higher intensity go, the more Dark Power Gem freeze you can actually create on the board. So when you get up to, say, 400 or 500 intensity, you're creating an additional 4 to 5 Power Gem freeze, which if you've got 3 ultra rare on your decks, it should be deck. If you've got 3 ultra rare on your deck, you'll be creating at 500 intensity 15 extra power gem freeze. So that's the reason why I would vote the ultra rare as the MVP of the deck. I think it's the best card on the deck overall. So let's look at the support card, and the support card is, for me, it's a bit lacking this week. It does heal, but it only heals when you match commander gems. It gives you 4000% heal of the E recovery, and it creates 8 dark gems. So it's relatively okay. It's not brilliant, but it's relatively okay. If you've got 3 of these, you can create 24 dark gems on the board. And if you've got the main card, which we'll take a look at next, then you've got a deck that can relatively get you through the event, but you're not gonna be winning any prize. You can probably complete the collection, which I guess is quite important, getting the season coins, but you still need to do well in the solo leaderboards to get a bit more gems at the end of the event. Plus, it's always nice to be able to play the event and enjoy seeing your deck doing quite well, rather than just having a mediocre deck that you're just playing just to complete the collection, which is what most of the time we end up doing as free-to-play players, but is what it is. So this is Rue, the Volt Gunner. and this is your main card. Again, increased chance of finding eggs. The battle skill is Volt Salvo, and this will create up to 15 Dark Power Gem 2s. Again, it will do it over 3 turns, and it will create 5 immediately and an additional 5 on turn 2 and turn 3. Intensity requirement is 200 for turn 2 and 400 for turn 3. It's got a 9 gem charge rate and a 3 gem cooldown. It hasn't got any passive on it, but it is a nice main card, primarily because of its ability to create power gems. If you've got 2 of these cards on your deck, you will be creating 10 power gem 2s. Again, if you increase your intensity with your support cards, if you've got 3 support cards, then you can save your gems from turn 1 when you get up to your 200 intensity, and then on turn 3 you'll activate everything including your support cards, just to fill out the spaces, and you should do nice damage. Again, you can add cards to the deck that's gonna boost the attack of the deck. You can use cards from other commander events such as Circuit Breaker, Ilaria. So let's have a look if I've got anything. Let's have a look at cards that will actually do anything in Severe Arcane. So you've got cards like, this is the one that I'm thinking of. This is a nice one. So it increase arcane killer attack by 200%. So this is different from damage. Damage comes after all this is calculated. Your 200% attack boost, it will increase it. So if you have up to, it can go up to a maximum of 565% for 1 turn. If you have 8 firepower gem 1s or higher on the board, this is increased by 10 times. So this is a nice card to have. If you've got 1 copy, that's totally fine. 1 copy is brilliant. It's better to have 1 copy than not have any at all. I've got 2 copies, but it doesn't really matter much. That's all I have personally got on my deck that's able to increase much. This one, Soldier of Love, that deck is not gonna really do much for you. So I'll be playing around with most of these cards tomorrow, and possibly that combination. Didn't really get much from the vault, so we're gonna look at my vault draw earlier, and you're gonna see exactly what I got from the vault. So misfortune continues. So here we go. Let's have a look at my vault draw. So this is it. This is all I got from the vault. I got 2 of the main card, and I also got 3 support cards. So I guess that's a deck. 3 support cards, 2 main cards. Probably could throw this one in. It does produce a bit of power gem. Create 6 dark power gem 4s and 3 dark power gem 2s, and it does, well, it increases Slayer attack, so that won't be much use for the deck, but there should be other cards that I can add to it. Circuit Breaker should be a card that will give this deck a bit more oomph. Hopefully I can actually do a little bit more this week that I've done in past events. Haven't been really lucky for the last last 7 events. All the last season I wasn't very lucky, and that was 5 events, and this season has started out quite the same. Didn't have much luck last week, and it was a half price vault. This week is a half price vault as well. Didn't really do very well. Hopefully next week is a half price. Really doubt it, but hopefully it might be a half price, and I can probably get something from that. Anyway, that's all from me. See you tomorrow on the next video when we do a possible deck combination, and let's see how we get on. So like, subscribe, and this is Octane saying stay safe, stay healthy, do your best to keep fit as well. Enjoy your day, and bye for now.